Matera just might be Italy's most unforgettable city. And yes, I know that sounds dramatic, but trust me, Matera is a rare place that actually earns the drama. You've got cave homes, rock churches, underground cisterns, dramatic overlooks, and a history that goes from ancient settlement to UNESCO World Heritage Site. So today, we're giving Matera a full day to see what the hype is all about and why it's become one of southern Italy's most fascinating and photogenic places to visit. Let's get tipsy, y'all. Made it to Matera. We just parked the car. We're going to start sightseeing, hopefully before everyone wakes up.
Matera's history goes way, way back. We're talking prehistoric times with evidence that people have been living here for thousands of years, which is why Matera gets bragging rights as one of the oldest continuously inhabited spots on the entire planet. The city is most famous for the Sassi, the ancient cave districts, which make Matera feel so different from almost anywhere else in Italy.
But the Sassi were not built all at once. They grew slowly as natural caves were carved deeper, expanded, enclosed, stacked, and connected until they became entire neighborhoods. Buildings were constructed on top of older caves, and the result is a city layered with cave houses, churches, twisting staircases, hidden alleys, panoramic viewpoints, and over 1,000 dwellings woven into the ravine.
Over the centuries, Matera has been passed around by just about every power you can name. The Romans, the Lombards, the Byzantines, the Normans, you get the idea. But the real plot twist in Matera's story comes much more recently. By the early 1900s, the Sassi had become overcrowded and extremely poor, with families and animals often living together in small cave homes without proper sanitation. In the 1950s, the conditions were considered so severe that the Italian government moved residents out of the Sassi into modern housing. For decades, the old cave districts were largely abandoned, and then Matera's story changed again. In 1993, the Sassi were designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and restoration brought new life to these old neighborhoods. And in 2019, Matera became a European capital of culture. So Matera went from prehistoric settlement to cave city to national shame to one of Italy's most celebrated cultural hotspots. Talk about a comeback.
Chiesa di San Pietro Caveoso is one of the most recognizable churches in Matera because of its position right on the edge of the Sasso Caveoso. The church sits dramatically above the ravine with the rock in front of it and the Sassi rising around it. And this is really one of those spots where the setting is just as much the star as the building itself. Now, the church itself is tied to Matera's religious history, but it also visually anchors the whole landscape if it wasn't under construction. But you had the piazza, the church facade, the cave neighborhoods, the ravine, and the rock churches nearby. It's basically just Matera showing off all of its greatest hits in one place. A cave house is a must-see in Matera because it's the only way to really get what life in the Sassi was actually like. The city is stunning now, but for many families, life here was extremely difficult. And that's the part of Matera's story that's easy to forget when you're busy snapping photos of all of the pretty stone streets. A Casa Carrara gives you the human side of the history, as you can see how people cooked, slept, stored tools, kept animals, and organized their daily lives within these spaces. And it's a reminder that Matera's transformation was complicated. These caves might be hotels, restaurants, and museums now, but not that long ago, they were home to some serious tough living.
Pro tip, if you're coming, no wheelie bag. Look at these stairs. I'm sure there's ways around it, but I wouldn't bring a wheelie bag here. And also tennis shoes. These stones are not good for anything open-toed. This is not a good idea for that.
We just went right outside the old historic center to go to a bakery / cafe. And I don't even know, Chris knows what they're called. What were they called?
Well, you had a panzerotto.
And you had?
I don't know, it's just a roll, like a rotolo, I think it's probably what they call it. A roll with meat and cheese in it.
It was €1, and it was so good, we got another one. So, that stop, definitely would recommend it. I'll make sure that I give you guys the information because that was awesome.
One of the best ways to understand Matera is to get a view over the Sassi, as it gives you that classic look over the stone neighborhoods, the ravine, and the layered cave dwellings. Matera is one of those cities that almost makes zero sense from the street level, and when you're inside the Sassi itself, everything feels like a maze. But from above it, it starts to make a little more sense and is where Matera starts to show off a little bit. You can see how the city drops down into the ravine, how the houses are stacked, how the caves are built into the rock, and how the church towers rise out of all that stone. The Matera Cathedral is worth adding to your list because it sits at the highest point of the old city and helps connect the Sassi to the Civita, the oldest central part of Matera. The cathedral is dedicated to Madonna della Bruna and Saint Eustachio, Matera's patron saints, and it rises above the city with one of the most visible bell towers in the entire skyline. Even if you just admire it from the outside, the cathedral is basically your best landmark for figuring out where you are and/or how lost you might be. Matera can feel like a stone labyrinth, but the cathedral helps you make sense of the city's pecking order and is a good reminder that Matera is not only cave dwellings. And after you've spent time wandering the lower stone lanes of the Sassi, seeing the cathedral perched above it all just adds another layer to the whole Matera experience. The Palombaro Lungo is one of the most fascinating stops here in Matera because it answers the big question that every city has to solve: where's the water? Matera is built on stone and the edge of a ravine in a very dry landscape, so managing water was essential. This huge underground cistern sits beneath Piazza Vittorio Veneto and was rediscovered in 1991 during work on the square. It's the largest public cistern in the city with a capacity of more than 5 million liters of water, which is roughly the same size as 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools hidden beneath the city. It collected spring and rainwater and acted as a major reserve for residents, especially during the summertime. So this place might sound simple, but it's all about how the city actually survived.
So that was super neat. I really enjoyed A, the break from the sun, but B, also it was just awesome. Like, it was just really cool. I don't think we've ever gotten to do like a water holding cell before. Yeah. As you can imagine, it was a bit busy and there's only one way in and out. It's also all graded too. So going back to our please wear closed-toed shoes, anything heeled would be awful. So not that anyone really wears heels, but still, don't do it.
The Church of Santa Maria de Idris is one of the most striking rock churches in all of Matera. It sits on the rocky spur of Monterone between Sasso Caveoso and the old Castelnuovo area, and its position offers an incredible view of the city and the ravine. But this is one of those places that really shows why Matera's religious architecture is so unusual, because the church is not just built with the stone, it is built into the stone. Matera has many Rupestrian churches, which are churches carved directly into the rock and are a huge part of this city's identity. UNESCO includes these rock churches as part of the protected site, along with the cave homes and other structures. Santa Maria de Idris is also one of those stops where the view does half of the work. You come for the church, but you also get one of the most dramatic perspectives in the city, and we'd call that very efficient sightseeing.
Okay, so we came here to Zipa, and it's actually located like directly next to the Rock Church, which is pretty funny. This place is definitely a cocktail bar and 1000% touristy. As you can see, we're in a rock, but they actually have really good cocktails. Yeah, so we joke a lot in Italy that you can either get a great view or like a great meal, but when it comes to drinks, you can get both. You can get both. So.
Yeah, this is proof. I mean, they've got a great menu and they're very good. I think yours was sorbet and rum and basil. Very good, very refreshing.
Yeah.
I got another Negroni take, surprise, but.
But I think it's worth it. And it's definitely one of the more unique places you'll get to have a drink in Italy.
The Convent of St. Agostino is another solid stop, mostly because it's got a prime perch overlooking the Sassi. The complex was founded by Augustinian monks at the end of the 1500s on a site connected to an older church dedicated to San Guglielmo, and its location offers another great perspective on the old cave neighborhoods. The church attached to the complex was dedicated to Santa Maria delle Grazie, but the buildings were severely damaged by an earthquake in 1734 before being restored and reopened later in the 1700s.
So is Matera worth a full day of your precious vacation time? Have some Freaking-lutely.
Yes. So this is honestly one of the most unique and visually stunning cities that we have ever visited in Italy. There are stairs, uneven stones, steep climbs, and more history than you can process in one single stroll. For us, a full day is probably the bare minimum. I mean, if this city were built in today's times, it would be like a marvel on its own. The fact that this was built thousands of years ago is absolutely incredible.
These streets definitely have some stories to tell.
Indeed.
So with that being said, from here, we are going to be heading to Lake Garda for the week to explore Italy's largest lake. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to us that you're here. Please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.